I wish I could live nearby. This area has so many interesting places to visit, including some really old architectural marvels. But you know what would be even better? A way to see it all from above. Wouldn't that be cool? I wish I could live near my workplace. This is a great area and the industries are doing better and better in this region. I heard that there are some great places to visit across the highway as well. Welcome to the Skyline6 European Adventure, a multiplayer collaboration between the Skyline6 Crew, Cities by Steven, Flyvox, Joy Build Cities, Raid Kitty, Danda from Dawanda, Chocaboa, and 10 amazing guests, including myself, Brad Play Cities, Pilot Build Cities, Few Candy, Brian Pickle, Ted Radical, Zardus, Conflict Nerd, and 30H. The build will also be slightly and very slightly inspired on some cities in Switzerland, just the way that they create their roads and build in between mountains. But before we get in there, you'll see that I'm using quite a lot of the landscape view so I can see the terrain heights and how things actually look. And I've started with this highway connection that was done by Raid Kitty, and I'm upgrading it with her permission to make sure that I have another entrance into this area. And I'll also connect it to the other highway on the other side, making it even better for people to come across both sides and reach the areas that they want to go to. I've also paid a lot of attention to the highway connection in here and making sure that everything is aligned, lane mathematics were done, and that things were looking good. Now, I look at this and I was like, I don't like it, so you know what? Goodbye. And then I got to build that again, because what more important than a roundabout at the entrance of your city, right? And obviously, where I come from, that there are cities that are inspired in the European architecture as well, and you do have roundabouts, but now it looks much better. We'll go back to that. We'll still detail quite a lot around that roundabout, and we'll see how that looks at the end. Other connections, I'm doing the same, making sure that we have dedicated lanes and things like that. I'm also creating these pedestrian roads, which I'll come back later and explain what that's doing there and why I've done it. And here is the main area that we're building. So this hill at the middle there is basically what I've seen, and look, you know what would be good in there? Chirpy balloon. So definitely we are getting Chirpy flying across the city and looking at some really awesome places all across our map and our areas that we built. So it was really fun to build all of this. I've been adding quite a lot of accessible ways in here, so bicycle paths and pedestrian paths and crossings. So I did an underpass on the highway to the area that the Raid has built, and doing all these connections to the area that Few Candy built with the industry on the other side. So the idea here is integrate those two areas and make it look more cohesive, being part of each other, and I think those two areas were great. I was like, I can't make it better. So I will try to bring them together in some way that it really works well and that just pops. But there we go. We have Chirpy Balloon in there. I would do, if you know my style, I usually do roads first, and then I'll do some main buildings, and then I come with all the zoning of that, and then I come back and do all the finishing details for the detailing, basically. So here I go with park and starting to build everything that we need in here to make this area feel great. Because what I want to do is this should be an area where people would live and had access to a lot of different things nearby, and also had a lot of nature and parks all around for them to feel like they were at home. Now I'm definitely using the power of Node Controller, really miss that on Cities Skylines too, but one day we'll get that in there and start doing some of the detailing in here. You see a few phases where I go back and forth with the detailing. There are a few things that I want to do before finalizing all of that, including rocks, obviously, but heavily on detailing. And what I usually do, I do detailing in 3 layers. So what I'm doing now is ground level, and then I come with the three layer, which is the high level, and the bushes and all the mid-level vegetation. That then, when you look from the ground level, you basically have that sensation that things actually grow and fill up a little bit more. And I think that really works in real life, and it works in the game as well. One of the techniques I always use to make sure that the builds were quite complete in terms of detailing. And here I am finalize a little bit more of that, and then using the power of move it to copy and paste things across all the area. And here is how it all looks when I finish copy and pasting. I've added a little more tree covers in that area, as I'm doing here on this park as well, but I'll do that layer later, and then we'll be back over there. And here for the Sharpie, I want to follow the terrain to get some fence in there, because, well, I felt that it made more sense avoiding the big slopes in that area rather than try to like very steep areas where people couldn't go. So I think that worked a little bit better as well. In here, one of my favorite areas, the integration with few candies industry. So usually what you have some commercial, and then you have some vegetation. You kind of have that barrier of trees and vegetation that basically hides everything. And I think that works perfectly in there, and I will show you that in a second. And now I'm building one of the latest pieces in here, which is an area that we need for the commercial area for this little city suburb we have in here. Be very famous place for shopping in that area. But final details, creating our Skyline 6 walkway and doing all the flags throughout the whole street. And as I finish this, let's jump back into the live build and I will show you around what I've done. And look at this. I'm pretty happy with the result of this area and how it actually integrates with everything over here. Because we do have this area, we have this area, we have that area, and then we have flies area over here as well. And I think it's creating that sense of integration, and I'm really looking forward to see someone building over here or over there. I think Zardos will build over here, so fingers crossed that happened, and this area will look even better. But let's look at what we've done here. As you can see, from the entrance to the ends of the exit of this area, we do have a lot of vegetation, a lot of growth in here. I've changed all the buildings in here for an European style as well. During the build, I had the international mode in there and haven't had the chance to change the area yet, but then I did at the end, and there we go. I think it looks even better in here. And as I mentioned, we have like some cycleways, we have pedestrians, crossings and things like that, adding access everywhere. We also have this underpass here going to the Ready Kids area, and this is the interchange that I've changed in the start of the game, because I definitely wanted another connection in here, well, a connection, and I didn't want to just pull this from that road or this highway, and I wanted to provide another connection into this highway so people don't need to go through this area, which end up being a little bit busier than it was before because of all the commercial that we have in here. But I think this works really well. As I mentioned, quite a few changes here on the highway, just to make sure that we align things and that we have lane mathematics working across this area. As you can see, lane out, and lane mathematics working in our favor. Now, everything has some vegetation buffer, and I didn't want to change the whole landscape in the area. I want to use the landscape in our favor to build what we want to do, and not just flatten the area and then feel like we had this flat area. As you can see, if we are here, you have these kind of hills in there, all the rocks at the bottom there, the mountains looking at the background, and this just looks really, really good. This is a fantastic map as well, and joins with fantastic build from all the creators, and I love that we are here and then we look into there. Look at this view over here. It's such like so many layers and so many things happening in the city that is just really, really cool. These are chirpy area that I mentioned, and again, everything with ground cover, with trees, with bushes, and people cycling, and everyone looking quite happy in this area. Look at this. Yay! Pretty far away from the airport as well, so we're pretty safe here. Don't worry about that. Our parks, this is my favorite park, end up being quite fun to do, and as I mentioned, add a couple more trees in here just to make it pop, and all the flowers around it, everything with some details, and even the cafe. Obviously, I need a cafe in the park. You know that if I'm building a park in Cities Skylines 1, it needs a park cafe, and have one in here, have another one in there, put the fences around it, just to make it make sense, right? And make it look good. And then when we get into this area that I mentioned, that I put all the flags here on the Skyline 6 walkway, and we put my one on this area, and then as we go, we have everyone's flags like Brad's, and all the other creators, Shukaboa, and Tanda, Sis by Steven, Conflict Nerds, and so on and so forth, all the way. And funny enough, we had enough flags in here, and we finished with the Skyline 6 flag that is just around here. Sometimes it's quite hard to see what the flag is because it doesn't align with the camera, but this is the Skyline 6 flag. And on this area here, I did add a bus stop. As you can see, people are getting there, and this is actually working very well. We do have quite a few people waiting here, but we do have a bus coming through this area, and if you look at this, we have enough capacity for everyone in here. And this is fantastic because we also have another bus stop over here. All these people will get in there and walk into this commercial area, and then get into their houses or shop or work around or visit some of the place or church balloon or the nearby place as well. I did add some schools, high density, not high density school, high school, elementary school, and things like that in this area, just to make it a little bit more attractive. Although we are using mods, I still feel like I should provide those things for the people in this area, and I think that works quite well. Now, what I mentioned about the buffer, in terms of when you look at this, for example, you're looking here and you kind of see the smoke from the chimneys in there, but what you see at the back there, basically just all trees. And when you go into this area and you have this pathway in here, you get like this sense of just greenery around you. You basically can't see all the industry back there. Although there are some very, let's say, interesting architectural decisions on this side. Let's ignore that for a second, and I'll move this bush over here. But this ended up looking quite cool to do and quite fun. And this is the only change I made to this area. I didn't touch anything on Fuel Candy's build because this was pretty good as it was. And yeah, plenty of vegetation, more coverage in here. A lot of areas like between the houses, we also added some vegetation there, more trees, detailing, some flowers like these all around the area, and I like it. It's very simple. I'm not gonna lie, that's very simple, but I think it worked exactly how I wanted this to work. And look at this area in the middle of this pocket is the higher place where the chirpy balloon was, and I had the option to use this hill over here and place it over there, but I thought, you know what, this might be messing around with this area over here too much, and I want to make it a little bit more part of the build, in the middle of the build, not on the corner, and I think this worked quite well. So if you go to the church over here, you can have a pretty nice view of the whole area. You can see the balloons coming and going, and this is quite fun. I really hope you enjoy it, but I just want to say a big thank you for the Skyline6 Crew to invite me again for this year's Skyline 6 build. It's been so much fun. I love what everyone has done to this map. We are almost to the end of the build, which is even more challenging because look at so many areas that have been built and so good. They're so detailed. They're fits with everything. I'm so happy to have my little corner here in the middle of the city. And when I say in the middle, I just noticed really middle. I feel like quite in the middle there. And big thank you for all of you and for all the guests as well, because it's been pretty fun building this with all of you. And can't wait to see what we build next and how we finish this. So if you want to see all the other builds, there is a link in the comment section with the playlist. Take a look at that, and hopefully I'll see you on the next episode. Big thank you to you all, and bye bye.